For those details, Dan Spieler and Gabby Gonzalez are together there in Noblesville to tell us what it is that you guys have either been able to confirm or what can you share with us this morning, guys?
Well, Ray, Angela, I just arrived at the scene. Dan has been walking around here for a while now, talking to parents who are very anxious, awaiting more information. I actually saw a lot of police cars driving to the scene. Still, we see Carmel, Westfield, Indiana State Police out here. Dan, what were you hearing from parents?
So I literally just spoke with a 7th grade student who was in the room where this happened, and her mom came to pick her up this morning, and she confirmed basically what I had heard from another person who lives nearby, that this was in a science classroom and that a science teacher may have been the one to literally try and tackle this kid and swat the gun away from him. That is a first-hand account from a 7th grader and her mom, who I just ran into. And she says that she described him as a student. I've heard other people say maybe it was an older student, but she said this was a student, and that he shot at someone in the room, and that one student was injured, and that this science teacher bravely swatted that gun away from the gunman's hands, saving everyone else in that room. They are on their way home. They're still trying to get in touch with their father. With them later today, but again, she's confirming what we've been hearing from people. Yeah. We always want to be very careful, obviously, when we get secondhand reports, but this is a 7th grader who was in that room, and her mom, who said this was a science teacher who helped save the students in his classroom. He may have also suffered some injuries as well, from what we're hearing. So what we're hearing for the most part right now is that there's an adult injured, this teacher from what we've gathered, and a student who was also injured in this shooting today.
Okay, and I know that we were also seeing parents lining the sidewalks here as we approach the school, parents trying to get information and access to their own children as well, but so glad to hear that that family at least was reunited at that point.
And I've seen a lot of parents coming here, obviously at a high rate of speed sometimes. You know, I can only imagine what that situation must be like, but I live near here. I know people who go to this school, and yeah, there was a sheer sense of panic for a lot of parents today. Let's show you a little bit what's going on here right now.
We're going to get out of the way here so you can see just the massive police presence here. You see all of those flashing lights surrounding Noblesville West Middle School. We see authorities ranging from state troopers to Westfield. We're going to send it back to the studio now. We'll have much more from the scene coming shortly.
Gabby, thank you so much for that. And I know that we have, more and more comments coming in. Going to give you the superintendent right now. Superintendent McCormick's statement. Let's actually go first to another live interview that we have happening now. I guess it just wrapped up. And who's the reporter on the scene? Is this from Alexa? Okay, Alexa, can you tell us a little bit about what they just said? Did you interview them, or are you about to? Can you hear me? Okay, we have Alexa, can you hear me? I think she's trying to call back in. She can't hear right now. So as we get her back on the phone, and we'll find out what those two students had to say, I'm going to read the superintendent's statement saying this. Today, an unfortunate shooting at a school has occurred in Indiana. State Superintendent Dr. Jennifer McCormick is in contact with the Indiana Department of Homeland Security and is actively monitoring the situation. We have confidence in Noblesville School Superintendent 2, Dr. Beth Niedmeyer, and her team. Law enforcement and first responders. The department stands ready to provide guidance and support, and we will provide further statements as the information unfolds.
So I just, as you were reading that, I'm not sure if that was the same one, but I want to pass along, we're hearing from Senator Joe Donnelly. A number of our elected representatives are paying attention to this. For one, Donnelly just said, I'm closely monitoring the situation at Noblesville West Middle School. I'm praying for the entire Noblesville community, students, teachers, families, and I'm thankful for our first responders here. You had the reading there from the
State Superintendent.
Yes. Okay, that's what I just got.
State Superintendent McCormick, we read her comments, and again, hearing now, I just heard from another mother who is on her way to pick up her son, and just saying that she feels more relief now. I was able to share with her as she is in the car, not being able to hear everything. I'm saying, hey, if you haven't been informed yet that your student was injured, then your student is okay, is what we're being told. Yeah. So she was just grateful to be able to get that kind of information. Yeah,
that was the word we got from Dave Burston from State Police. If you have not gotten a call and you have a child at Noblesville West Middle School, your child is uninjured and accounted for. It's just a matter of getting you to reunite with him or her at Noblesville High School. The people who were injured in this, one at Riverview Hospital, then sent on to Riley Hospital for Children with some sort of bullet injury, and then there was another student, Ange, that you were reading about that had some sort of ankle injury, trying to get away from the immediate danger here.
That was from Riverview Health, that they had said that they had received originally 2 people, and one was unstable, sent to Riley, and then one that had been that had received an ankle injury. We want to get back to Alexis now to talk a little bit more about what she's hearing and who she's talking to.
That's right, Angela. We are out here at Methodist Hospital. I'll step out of the way. You can see there's not too much to show right now, but there has been investigators and police pulling up here to the emergency room entrance here at Methodist Hospital downtown. You can see them here on these motorcycles just pulling around, getting into this area. Now, what we know so far is 2 patients were taken to the hospital after that shooting at Noblesville West Middle School. 1 teen and 1 adult injured is what we know so far. Families were notified. Now, one of those teens was taken to IU Riley Hospital for Children, just a few blocks away, and the adult was taken here to IU Methodist Hospital. Now, we have been in contact with IU Methodist public relations officials who tell us they are working on more information, including more information on that adult's condition at this time. But as we mentioned, this is very active right now, so they are working to type up that information, possibly have some type of briefing here in the next hour or so. So we're going to continue to stay out here, but you can see those police officials pulling up here to IU Methodist Hospital as those family members of this adult victim could be showing up anytime. So we'll stay here on scene. Angela?
Thank you for that. And we want to show you again another live look here at what is basically kind of the command center here and where people are gathering. The media briefing, we have been told here, is going to happen at 11 a.m. where police will update us on, again, what we know. What we've been told, 2 injured, 1 stable, 1 with an ankle injury, and again, a shooter in custody.
And we had it on very good information there from our Dan Spieler, who was there a short time after the first reports of that gunfire at Noblesville West Middle School, who got to talk with the family. Believe he said the mother of a 7th grader who was inside the classroom, a science classroom, when the counts were there. An older student, I'm not sure what that means, but another student came into that room and opened fire, hitting 1 student. But it was, as Dan described from that parent, that a science teacher is the one who was able to subdue that young person with a gun, and in the process potentially saving the lives of other students there in the classroom here. 1 week left to go before classes let out. We have not been given word from the many law enforcement officers who are on scene. What is the identity of that person? What drove that person to take part in that violent act? That is too early to say at this point. We hope to get that information. We may not get it at 11 o'clock, but that is when we will get sort of the preliminary first word from law enforcement about the exact number. You know, we know that 1 person is in custody here, so we'll do that hopefully in about 15 minutes.
Right now, we want to go to Alexa Green, who has recently spoken to some students. Alexa, what did they tell you?
Good morning, Ange and Ray. Well, we just got that update from State Police not too long ago, reiterating the message. If you have not received a call from the school, from police, that means your child is safe. We are here at Noblesville High School. This is where parents are being urged to come to reunite with their students. You could see a line forming outside the high school right now. Parents are being, again, encouraged to come here, bring their photo ID to make sure that is happening. I want to bring in Kaylee Sweeney right now. Kaylee, you actually got a text from your sister who's a middle schooler, right?
Yeah, she's in 8th grade. She was in choir class, and the choir room is really close to the 7th grade hallway. And I got a text this morning saying that there was a school shooter and that they were on their way outside of the school to go to a safe location. And then she also called my mom and told us exactly where they were at. They were in the basement of the Fox Prairie Golf Course clubhouse. So we sped over there as fast as we could, and went to the basement and met up with my little sister, and thankfully that my younger brother, he was also a 7th grader, he went to Flat Rock yesterday, and he's supposed to be coming back today, and he would have been in that same hallway, so who knows what could have happened, but they're all safe now, and we met up with them, and now we're waiting on them to reunite with them at the high school.
Describe to us how your sister, said what was happening.
She said that she heard the shots whenever she was in the choir room, and they had the intercom come over and said that there was a code Alice and that they needed to evacuate immediately, and it was not a drill. So she said that they ran out and they were running across the field on the other side of the bus garage towards 196th Street to be able to be safe, and there was all these 8th graders in this basement compacted together, and she was really scared. Whenever I got there, the first thing I did was gave her a really big hug, and she was crying. It was really sad, but I'm glad she was okay.
We're all glad that she's okay. What was going through your mind when you first got that text this morning?
At first, I really thought it was just like a joke. I didn't know what to think of it because I'd never, ever would have thought that would have happened in Noblesville. Like, you hear about it everywhere else, but not in Noblesville. Like, I went to Noblesville schools up until my 9th grade year, and I never had to deal with anything like this. So it was really scary, and my mom and I were crying and, like, freaking out, hoping that she was okay, and thankfully, whenever we got to see her finally, she was okay.
Well, we are so glad that she's doing okay. Again, a frightening situation for really everyone in this community. Again, Noblesville parents of West Middle School students are being urged to come here at the high school and bring their ID. Again, state police telling parents if they have not yet been notified, that means their child is okay. We'll send it back to you guys.
Alexa, thank you so much for that. Again, now time at 10:47. Going to recap, start over from the beginning. It was in the 9 o'clock hour. We got those first reports that there was an active shooter happening at Noblesville West Middle School. Really within moments, we heard that the suspect was in custody. I mean, we're talking right as soon as we got the first report, suspect in custody immediately. Our Dan Spieler has talked to some folks there that have confirmed from at least 2 or 3 different people, Ray, and it's just that it was a science classroom and that perhaps the science teacher was able to subdue the individual.
That is information that Dan received from a parent who was there to pick up her 7th grader who was there in the science class, who actually witnessed all of this happen. Said that the science teacher in that room was able to subdue this gunman and make sure that no other students were injured. But at this point in time, 2 students have been injured, apparently 1 from gunfire, 1 from some sort of other injury with potentially a broken ankle, but also an adult who was injured. I don't know if that injury was from a gunshot or from the potential struggle with this gunman, but we have an adult who is getting treatment now at Methodist Hospital, another child who was at Riverview Hospital for that ankle, and then a 3rd person, a teenager who was taken to Riley Hospital for treatment for some sort of gunshot wound. So all of the students who were inside Noblesville West Middle School have been taken through the lockdown process, put on buses, and then brought to Noblesville High School, and that is where parents are now picking up their children, happily reuniting with them, knowing that they were uninjured by this, but certainly touched by the anxiety and the chaos of an active shooter situation inside their middle school. So that is where things are right now. We are waiting for a news conference from law enforcement there. We've got a host of agencies, Noblesville Police, Carmel Police, Hamilton County Sheriff's Department, Cicero Police, State Police, and the ATF also there.
I want to get you through a few responses now from some of our local and state and national leaders. Senator Donnelly now just tweeting this to releasing a statement. I'm closely monitoring the situation at Noblesville West Middle School. I'm praying for the entire Noblesville community, students, teachers, families, and I'm thankful for our first responders. And then also another comment this morning just coming in as well from the governor of Indiana saying, Speaker Bosma
phone so I can just share your call. Try and see if I can get in.
Hey. Yeah, whatever you want. Whatever you want. We'll just. Yes. No. Okay. No. Don't interrupt. Okay. Well, just I'll wave at you.
She did get word from a classmate that said she is okay, but her concern is, you know, how many times are we going to have this reported in the news, another shooting at a school, before we can sort of get a comprehensive answer and what is the best practice to protecting our children.
We're going to get more in about 6 minutes is when this news conference is supposed to start to give us that update, and wanted to add on a little bit to the high school situation I was talking about too. When they went on that code yellow is what Cade told us, one of the students who was locked in. We're also hearing that it went to a code red. Also being told by someone there in the high school that a SWAT team had just run by. So that would lead us to believe that the SWAT team is inside. They're clearing the building, making sure that it's all safe, and getting those students that had to lock down in their classrooms to be able to get out. Again, student we're calling a high school student, Cade, who actually went to the middle school, went to Noblesville West Middle School, told us that from the beginning, as soon as they got word, they were in a passing period, and that they went on this alert and had to go into the nearest classroom. They all had to lock themselves in, and they were told basically that they would not be leaving until police could escort them out and make sure that they were all safe. Yeah, and what I mean, this is an actual quote that we got from him. He said, "It's upsetting, it's surreal to know that in the news, you see it on the news just about every week, that someone is shooting a school, and you just kind of think to yourself, that'll never happen here." You kind of look at it like it's a different planet, and then it happens just down the road from where we're at right now. He said it's eye-opening. That was the junior from Noblesville High School, Cade, who was on the phone with us. We've got another parent who we want to talk to. She does not want to share her name, and that's okay. Thank you for spending time with us on the phone. Tell us, is your child okay?
Hi, Ray and Angela. My child is okay.
We're glad to hear that first and foremost. What did your child tell you? Did your son or daughter have a phone with him or her at the time?
We actually received an email from him that said that they were hiding in a closet, that they were okay. Right now we are in the gym, and they're making an announcement. We're on lockdown, code red, in the high school, and they're not releasing any children.
Okay, we've just heard too from another parent that they were in an area where they were able to see a SWAT team just go by. We understand that they're likely, right, making sure that the school is safe before they move you all. Did you see that SWAT team?
I did see them go by, and there was someone in the gym, a police officer standing in front of us with a assault rifle. So
wow, they've
got us pretty locked down here.
Okay, and I just want to clarify, you have a student at the high school, right? Not at the middle school.
At the student.
Is your middle school student with you? Are they able to evacuate there to the high school, and are they both with you?
No, neither of them are with me.
Okay.
My middle schooler, as far as I know, is at the high school. We're waiting for him. We signed in to pick him up. We're waiting for him in the gymnasium, and then they put us on lockdown.
I got you. So you're in the gymnasium. They're probably locked in their classrooms or a classroom.
I think my son texted my husband and said he was locked in the office.
Okay.
So I think they're in different areas.
So you're there with other parents right now. The stress that you must have been feeling, I mean, I sense some calmness from you now that you've gotten word that your children are okay, but can you tell me what that was like with all the other parents, and you are waiting for word, desperate, thinking the worst?
I'm still shaking. I'm still shaking. I mean, a lot of crying. I just want to hold my kids.
Have you been able to talk or hear, at least from other parents? We've been told without giving any names, okay, that there was a male science teacher that supposedly that this shooter went into or was near or shooting into a science classroom there at the 7th grade level, and that possibly the teacher was able to take down the suspect. Have you heard any other details about that or that story?
I have not heard anything but speculation. I have not heard, I've heard nothing. I've heard a lot of speculation. And I'm getting a lot of my news through you.
Okay. Yeah, well, we had, just so you know, our Dan Spieler was able to talk to at least 2, possibly 3 different people. We know one who had a student in the science classroom, is our understanding, and believe that shots were fired into, or the person came into that classroom, and actually that science teacher possibly was able to wrestle the gun out of that shooter's hand.
Yeah, that is a dramatic scenario. Can you tell us how the police response that we have seen appears massive from the outside? Can you take us through? We can't see exactly what you're looking at right now. What it's like in there? Does it feel like controlled chaos, or does it feel orderly?
It's very orderly. I mean, honestly, they've done a great job. It's very orderly. You've got a bunch of panicked parents, and they've kept it together. We do have police officers in front of us with guns, and we see the SWAT teams going by. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm hoping that they're just trying to make sure that all the kids from the middle school are here safe. I'm not sure why we're on a code red. As far as I know, they were not letting any other parents into the high school, and they're not letting anyone out.
Well, I'm going to tell you just, and again, I'm just so that you know, okay, of what we had heard, that we had talked to a student originally that said, they went on code yellow immediately after this happened to keep everyone safe. But then, again, this is not confirmed, but just so you know, we've been told by multiple sources that then somebody called in a threat. So then police got even more concerned and just wanted to make sure that everything was safe, and did that as a precautionary. I'm sure that you probably, as a precaution, you've likely heard that. But that has not been confirmed, or that there was anything specific to that threat. But again, just doing all of this to make sure that they are being so safe and making sure that nothing happens to any more students or teachers.
They're really doing a great job considering.
And this is a situation, where, as years have gone on and we've seen these kinds of attacks at a much more severe scale, but schools forced to evaluate their own safety protocols. What are the best practices when it comes to keeping kids safe in the event of this sort of emergency here? Do you feel that that your kids had, from the student perspective, the right information, the right knowledge, the right understanding about what to do in these sort of situations?
I really do. My son instantly, we received an email from him within 15 minutes of hearing, we received an email that said they were in a closet and they were safe. So they obviously knew where to go and what to do. And in fact, I think that a lot of the students are a lot calmer than the parents right now.
Yeah, as they are typically so resilient. It is amazing. We are so thankful that you're okay, and that your middle schooler and your high school student are okay, and we hope that you get reunited very soon. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us.
Me too.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. All right, let's check in with Jillian, which law enforcement is going to bring us all up to speed on where things stand here. I guess this is a little delayed. Jillian, what do you know about where things stand, about getting us all informed?
Well, right now we know officers have set up this area behind me here, a podium. They have a tent up. They plan to be here for a while because it is hot out here. They want to be here. They want to get the word out and talk to the community because they know there are so many questions right now. People still worried about what's going on. Questions about these 2 victims, questions about the suspect that they say is in custody. All they've been able to say is limited information, and they're always very careful in situations like this. And I know back at the studio, as you guys have been saying, we've been getting different reports, information from people in the school. As for Indiana State Police, they've been very cautious about what information they share, saying that right now they weren't going to share any information about how those victims are doing right now. They don't want to say the wrong thing. And also saying that when it comes to the suspect, they weren't saying, anything about that person. I was saying, we've heard it's a male. Is it a male? They said, we can't say that right now. Limited information. So we are waiting for them to step up to this podium here. We know officials have talked about 100 Indiana State troopers who have joined local law enforcement to assist, because this is quite the process at this point. We're trying to get the parents over to the high school. A lot of questions, all of the media here wanting to make sure that we can get the information out to all of you out there. So we will let you know as soon as this press conference gets started. We are going to take it live and hear from the officers the very latest that they have. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Jillian, thank you. The reaction has reached beyond Hamilton County and central Indiana. It's in Washington, D.C., where our elected leaders have been sort of reacting to this, offering their support in any way they can early on. But we just got a statement from Mayor Hogshead in Indianapolis. He wrote, as the father of 3 kids, including a daughter in middle school, I know too well the terror that every parent faces when they hear the news of yet another school shooting. We must continue to push for action that puts a stop to days like this. Indianapolis stands with Noblesville. That is from Mayor Hogshead this morning.
One of the people that Dan Spieler was able to talk to was actually a student that was in the school at the time, and also has talked to another witness and also a neighbor who had spoken to someone. So from at least, it sounds like 3 different sources, able to talk to the 7th grader who told him that he was in the room where the shooting happened. And then her mom came to pick her up. She confirmed to us that there was a shooting that happened in the science classroom, where this student who was there said that she then saw the science teacher that was able to try to tackle this person that she called a kid and then swat the gun away from him. Again, this is a first-hand account of the 7th grader and her mom, who Dan Spieler was able to talk to a short time ago. We know that from what we're hearing from Riverview Hospital, that there were 2 students injured, one in stable condition, one at Methodist, and then one taken to Riley with an ankle injury. What we have not heard, at least to my understanding, Ray, is if this is true with what the 7th grader is telling us, how that science teacher is doing right now.
Yeah, that is the question here. So much of the time here when we are breaking in with extended coverage with the headline, school shooting, you fear that there have been fatalities. We are so thankful to be able to report that that is not the case here. The number of injured has been limited, as we can best tell, to 3. And they have all survived, and they are getting treatment right now. There is not a situation where we have a student that is unaccounted for with a weapon inside the middle school. That person has been in custody, so that is the good news here. And we're getting a little bit of information from our Jessica Hayes, who indicating that this shooting here at Noblesville West Middle School would be the 23rd school shooting in 2018 where someone was injured by gunfire or killed. And so we are now the 23rd in the nation to have suffered this sort of attack on school grounds.
Okay, and also, producer, we just reported that, what you wanted us to report, so just to let you know that before we put that up. But also hearing from another parent of a 7th grader at Noblesville West Middle School, giving an account too of what happened with her 7th grade student, saying that my daughter is now in the high school. She told me that the school was on a code yellow, and I told her it was probably a threat. They're just being careful, hang in. I love you. And then a couple minutes later, she basically started crying, and she said there's a shooter at Noblesville West. So then this mother got in the car and went over to get her child. But you can imagine, then she said as she was driving over there that she didn't really see a lot of police presence. So and thinking that it wasn't going to be true, and then when she pulled up, seeing then everything that was there, and just racing to the school to try to be reunited with her students.
Yeah, that's the natural hope, that this is a false alarm, that this was a rumor and not something that was in fact turning out to be true, but it is. Alexa Green is going to join us now as we wait for a news conference from leaders there that are bringing us up to speed. Alexa, I'm not sure if you can hear us or not. It sounds like she is on the phone right now. All right, so we're not going to go to Alexa right now. Alexa, can you hear me? All right, we've lost connection with Alexa here, but she is one of many reporters that we have throughout Noblesville, bringing us up to date on what we know about this school shooting in which 2 students and a teacher have been injured.
Okay, so just again, I got another family member who's there, said students are, this was 1 minute ago, students are screaming at Noblesville High School and heard that there was another threat, and my daughter goes there. I'm not sure, but again, this was that confusion of that original threat that, or the code, yellow that they went under when they went on lockdown after the school shooting nearby. And then what we were told, this is not confirmed, but now at least 3 people have told us that somebody had then called in a kind of a hoax threat at the high school. And then they went down on a higher level of security because police wanted to make sure that nothing was happening there. And we have heard from 2 different people that SWAT team members have been in the high school then clearing it and checking it out to make sure that everything is okay.
Yeah, you know that police are going to respond, as if lives are on the line, because it appeared that they definitely were. Let's check in. I think we've reestablished contact with Alexa. Alexa, do you have something?
They're still talking. They're still talking. Do you want me to fill some time? Hey. I know. Listen, it's all stressful. You're good. You're good. You're good. No, I'm talking to her. We're good. We're good. Listen, we're going to get it done.
Conference is set for just to begin really momentarily, so we're hoping to learn a little bit more at that point about what led up to this, what exactly happened inside Noblesville West Middle School today. But just a scary situation and really a parent's worst nightmare happening here at home today.
All right, Alexa Green, thank you very much. Well, 11 o'clock was when we were going to hear from, we're able to get him into police custody here. But those are some of the details that we want to hear, sort of how do they play out on a minute-by-minute basis. And police are still gathering that information and not quite ready to deliver all the details as we have preliminarily been able to gather them here this morning. We're going on close to 2 hours since this report first came to our attention here. But again, no fatalities as a result of this, and a student suspect is now in police custody.
It's 11:12, and again, just recapping everything that we're seeing out here. You're looking at the school, Noblesville right now. This all starting in the 9 o'clock hour, like you said, at the Middle School East, hearing from so many parents still that have not been reunited with their loved one just yet, waiting for that. We want to go to Methodist Hospital, though, right now, where we understand one of the patients was taken. Alexis, can you tell us a little bit? I believe, was the adult taken there, or do you know yet?
Yes, we know an adult, Angela, was taken here to IU Methodist Hospital here to this area. Toss it back to you guys.
We want to send it over to law enforcement personnel who are getting ready to make their comments to bring us up to date on where things stand. We just sent out an alert here from Fox 59 News that police have given the all clear after searching Noblesville West Middle School following the attack here that unfolded just about 2 hours ago. We were expecting police to give us an update, but that's not happening yet. So let's get back to Alexis to tell us more about the injured person who was taken to the hospital there. Alexis, let's send it back to you.
That's right, Ray. So back out here at the scene at IU Methodist Hospital, we know an adult was rushed to the hospital here downtown at IU Methodist after that Noblesville school shooting earlier this afternoon. I'm going to step out of the way. You can see here this scene downtown right now has calmed down. There was a Noblesville medic actually in a fire truck who had pulled away not too long ago. We're trying to figure out if that was the crew that responded, but we now know that there's a press conference, so toss it back.
And then Lieutenant Bruce Barnes, they will not answer questions. None of them will be answering questions. About 10 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes.
Again, just giving us the few-minute warning here, as they often do, as people are trying to get the very latest and make sure the microphones are on, police are ready, just trying.
A warning there.
In a confusing situation when you don't know exactly what's going on. We've heard these different reports that we know the shooter's in custody, and then we've heard reports that there are actually 3 people that were injured, an adult and then also 2 students. We don't know is originally we were told that the shooter, according to an eyewitness, that they believed it was a student. Was that student injured, and is that among the injured? So are there 4 people involved here is kind of the question here as far as what we're hoping to get answered.
And I think we might be able to explain part of the reason that it is taking police a while to be able to get all the information to then pass along to you, is that we've got a number of police agencies who are sort of coordinating together here. Noblesville Police, Carmel Police, as well as the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department, state police there who are about to, I believe, be the lead agency in describing where things stand right now, but also federal authorities there. The ATF is on scene with a number of agents who responded here as soon as they got word about not just a threat, but an active shooter situation at Noblesville West Middle School. And again, we're waiting to confirm the exact number of patients who have been brought to the hospital for treatment to injuries, either from gunfire or in, sidebar casualty injuries related to trying to get away from the emergency situation there. But again, the suspect is in police custody, apparently subdued by the teacher in that 7th grade classroom where the gunfire first broke out. We still don't have an idea about the motive here. Who do they suspect was behind this or why? I doubt that we'll get that in this first press briefing here. But what we did get from State Police Captain Dave Burston was that if you have not received a phone call and you have a child at Noblesville West Middle School, or the high school for that matter, that your child is okay and uninjured. It's just a matter of getting you connected with your child in the school system there in Noblesville.
And what we know, as far as I've been able to talk to actually our news director that's been able to confirm what we know at this point, just to make sure that we have the numbers right. We know that at least 4 people are involved. We know that the shooter obviously is involved here, and then we know that there are 3, right. And then we know at least 3 other people were injured. We know that there's an adult injured, and then we know that there are 2 students who are injured. We know that adult patient was taken to IU Health Methodist, is what we're being told. And according to the 7th grade student that was in there, in that science classroom where this shooter came in and opened fire, that the science teacher was able to swat that gun away. And we believe at this point, is what we're told, that but what they believe is that that science teacher was slightly injured. Slightly injured. We know that there was an ankle injury as well to another student.
Very trying and stressful times for the many parents, the hundreds of parents throughout the Noblesville school system. Well, there are really 10,000 students throughout that district there, but hundreds of them at the middle school, so concerned, and nothing but cars lining the properties out there as they are trying to get information, trying to get to their child. Many of them don't have access to their cell phones, so they're relying on other kids who maybe have their technology with them and are kind of serving as the person who's getting word out to everybody else about the safety and well-being of classmates. Relay that word to their parents that they're okay here. And so we've seen that play out at Noblesville High School. That is where the middle schoolers were taken on buses, and families have now been in the process of kind of connecting with them to get them home so they can sort of be, debriefed and de-stressed from you know, this chaos involving gunfire inside their school.
I understand our Jill Glavin is live as well right now. I think we can dip into not ready yet. We're going to hold on to that again. 2 more minutes though. Just got the 2-minute warning from police again to update us and again on what we're going to learn and hopefully getting more information on the student or adult who opened fire. We've heard from at least one eyewitness that told us that they believe that it was a student, and then again at least 3 others injured, meaning an adult, we're told, possibly the science teacher who swatted the gun away, and then perhaps 2 students.
Yeah, and our Dan Spieler from Fox 59 News was one of the first. He was the first reporter we were able to get about what happened. He connected with a parent there. I believe we have that ready to go and play that for you. Here's Dan Spieler, who had just talked with a 7th grade parent there.
And she says that she described him as a student. I've heard other people say maybe it was an older student, but she said this was a student, and that he shot at someone in the room, and that 1 student was injured, and that this science teacher bravely swatted that gun away from the gunman's hands, saving everyone else in that room.
All right, so it doesn't get really more dramatic than that to know that a science teacher put himself or herself in harm's way to protect the students there who were at their most vulnerable, facing the gun of a shooter inside Noblesville West Middle School, and we're waiting for word from police authorities here. In fact, it is starting now, Ange, so let's take a listen from Noblesville
Lieutenant
Police.
with the Noblesville Police Department, Public Information Officer. We're going to provide you with some details in regards to the incident that we had today at Noblesville West Middle School. We're going to have the Chief of Police, Kevin Jallett, speak, and Superintendent of Noblesville School Corporation, Dr. Beth Niedermeyer, speak to you. We appreciate that you're going to have questions, and likely many of those questions will go unanswered based upon the limited amount of content that we're going to provide to you today. But what's important to us right now, because this situation is still ongoing, is that we got to make sure these kids are safe, and we got to make sure that we do our job as law enforcement, as public servants within this community and surrounding communities to be able to maximize our efforts. Sometimes we have to keep that information close to us in order to ensure that our kids stay safe, and that's what we're going to do. So we will provide you with as much as we can. We will plan on meeting back here at 2 o'clock to provide you with any other additional information that we might be able to release at that time. But for now, we've got a dynamic, ongoing situation, so we'll provide you with the information that's available to us, that's available for release, and then that'll be it. So first up, Chief of Police Kevin Jallett with the Noblesville Police Department.
Good morning. My name's Kevin Jallett. I'm Chief of Police in Noblesville. At 9:06 a.m., Hamilton County Communications Center received a call of an active shooter at Noblesville West Middle School. Officers from the Noblesville Police Department, Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, Indiana State Police, and other local agencies responded immediately. The situation is contained. We have 2 victims, one an adult teacher and one a juvenile student, who have been transported to Methodist and Riley hospitals in Indianapolis, respectively. Their families have been notified and are en route to be with their loved ones. There is a male student at Noblesville West Middle School who has been detained. We believe he is the involved. Reason to believe that there is any kind of a threat connected to this incident anywhere else. We are also, however, aware of a secondary threat that's been made at Noblesville High School. We have multiple officers and a command post established at Noblesville High School and are diligently ensuring the safety of students and staff there. We have not received any information that this has been anything other than a communicated threat. And again, we are securing Noblesville High School and taking steps to make sure that it stays secure. We do have law enforcement officers from many different agencies on the scene. The Indiana State Police, Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, Fishers Police, Westfield Police. We have agents from the FBI and ATF here assisting us. And we have just begun an investigation. Obviously, the investigation is going to be time consuming. We're going to take it very carefully and methodically. I believe at this point the school has been completely cleared and the investigative process has just begun. I'm now going to let Dr. Beth Niedermeyer, the superintendent of the Noblesville School System, speak to you.
Which school has been cleared?
I'm sorry?
The high school or the middle school has been cleared?
Middle school.
Thank you, Chief Jowett. My name is Beth Niedermeyer, and I'm the superintendent of Noblesville Schools. I want to thank everyone for being here and for all the thoughts and prayers. Our hearts go out to everyone that's been involved in this horrific tragedy. We want to thank the teachers and the administrators, Principal Stacy Swan, for their quick actions, responding, following all of the procedures to care for the safety of our students. The collaboration between all law enforcement agencies has been tremendous, and we're so grateful that everyone was so quick to respond and help us through this tragedy. As we learn more, we'll continue to communicate as we have been with our families. Right now, parents may pick up their students at any of the schools if they choose to. We'll follow our regular procedures for that, but we will also have our regular dismissal today for those parents who are working and they want to keep their children in school, their children are safe, and we'll continue the day as planned. Thank you all for keeping us in your thoughts and prayers.
So again, we will plan to meet back here 2 o'clock. We will provide you with any additional updates. We appreciate your patience with us. We know that you have our community in your best thoughts as we move forward. So we appreciate your patience now. We ask for your prayers for the victims in this case, and I think that would include a lot of kids, not only the ones that were truly the victims in this case, but all these other kids that are trying to make sense of this situation. So we appreciate all your help. We will plan to be back here at 2 o'clock. Thank you for your time.
All right, Lieutenant Kevin Barnes there with the Noblesville Police Department leading the news conference, discussing where things stand. We just heard from the chief of the Noblesville Police Department, who described the situation here and confirmed for us that we have 2 victims. 1 adult victim suffering some sort of gunshot wound, and 1 juvenile student. Those are the injured that we can pass along here, but we also got confirmation about the suspected shooter.
Yes, we were told just